Okay, so first we're going to start with your name.
My name is Michael Wayne Bushey.
And what do you go by on a regular day basis?
Wayne.
How old are you?
I'm 75 years old.
Where were you born?
In Newcastle.
Where did you grow up?
In Nelson, Miramichi.
What were your parents' names?
Frank, my dad, and Ida, my mother.
And what was your mom's maiden last name?
Masson.
And what was your father's last name?
Bushey.
On an individual basis, what were your parents like, both your mom and your dad?
They were very kind. My mom was a quiet person, and so was my dad. My dad was a large man, 6 feet. Very calm. I never saw him lose his temper and talk very soft. My mother was about the same.
When you grew up, were you religious?
Yes, I would say so.
What church did you grow up in?
St. Pat's in Nelson, Miramichi.
So Catholic.
Yes.
What
RC.
Right. What was your were you an altar boy in the church?
Yes, I was. There was a time I was about 8 years old until I was 15.
And what did you do being the altar boy?
I done everything that is asked from to an altar boy.
So what are some examples of things?
Well, Sir Mass, in Nelson it was all most ERCs, and we're in all the Boy Scouts, the same group. We play hockey together, we serve Mass together, everything from high Mass to low Mass to Christmas, New Year's, Easter, whatever came.
What was your homestead like, your house growing up?
It was a 4-bedroom house, a washroom on top of the stairs. Downstairs was a 4-room and a sun porch on the front.
Did you have jobs at your homestead you had to do?
Yes, we did. Growing up on a small farm, we done whatever, had to hay, feed the hogs, get eggs, kill chickens, whatever it took. Pile wood, cut wood.
What did your parents do for jobs?
My mom was a homemaker, and my dad was a barber by trade, but because of his legs, gave him some trouble, so he worked for the Department of Transportation.
Did you have any siblings growing up?
I did. I had a sister who was next to me. She'd been gone from here for many years. She took business in school. Next was my brother Byron, who became a social worker.
And your sister's name?
And my younger brother came an RCMP officer, and he retired at 36 years.
Did you want to give their names?
My sister's name was Frances. She was 19 months younger than me. My brother's name was Byron. And my younger brother was 12 years younger than me. He was Richard or Ricky.
What was school like when you were a child?
School was tough for me. I had some difficulty in school. But them days, it wasn't a whole lot of help. I had a different time in school, but my schooling came later in my life. When I got to be more like an adult, is really when I went to school and became a power engineer and many other things, really.
So what are some things that you did with your friends, or at school or after school?
Well, Boy Scouts was a large thing. Baseball, hockey was a large thing in our growing up them days. Playing on the river.
Did you attend high school?
Later in my life, yes.
When did you meet Nanny, so the woman that you're married to now?
I met Nanny when I was 16 and she was 14.
And her name?
Her name is Sharon McNamara.
So can you tell us a bit about how you met Nanny?
Working in a grocery store in the holidays at Christmas time. She came there to weigh grapes, and I was working. She worked in the produce, and I was working groceries. And we met then, and a year later we started going out together. So I guess I was 17, and she was 15 when we started going together.
How long after that did you get married?
It was about 3.5 years.
So how many children did you guys have together?
4.
And can you say their names?
Michelle, the oldest. Michael was next. Mark was next, and Mackenzie, the baby.
What was the hardest part about raising children?
Well, making sure that they were doing the right thing, making sure that they were getting the academics that they would need for their future, making sure that they stay away from trouble, and so keep them in sports and other programs.
So you did have a child, Mark, who was born with a disability. Do you just want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, Mark was born Sharon had rubella, which is a German measles, when she was carrying Mark, and Mark was born profoundly deaf.
How did that, raising Mark with a disability, how did that change your life?
I don't know if it changed our life. It certainly gave you empathy for people that had disabilities. It was tough, of course. Them days you didn't have all the opportunities in academics and that you got today. Mark did finish high school. It wasn't easy. And he came a verbal kid, which signing was kind of out because he said who is he going to sign to, only who was at home, really. Yeah, it was different. It was different. Our house would be all fireplace, all signs up all around everywhere. If people came in, they thought it was foolish. On the fireplace, we would have fireplace. On the fridge, we would have fridge. On the stove, we would have stove. All over the house, on the doors, we would have pieces of paper saying what they were. What he was trying to learn to speak.
So, what was the best part about raising children?
I think to see them move forward and being the person that they want to be, but the person that we would hope they would be, I guess.
How did having children change you as a person?
Well, it changed me in ways I knew my responsibility. I knew I was their father and in a married state, and that's where I was going to stay. And so I was quite involved in the community, but they were always my priorities for sure. And
what kind of father would you say you were?
I'd say very quiet, not abusive or anything like that. Very serious at times. Want them to do the right thing and not be not get in any trouble or anything. I guess Sharon was more quiet, and I guess I was the one that would round on them if things weren't going the right way. If they weren't, if I didn't think, or we didn't think they were doing the right thing. we would. I'd be the first one to tell them, I guess. As a father, I guess I was fair. Certainly, I wasn't. I was verbal person to tell them where I thought they were going wrong. I wasn't abusive in any way.
What was your first job as an adult?
As an adult, I guess working in a pulp mill.
And then where did you go on from there?
Well, it's like I was in Fredericton one day and I was in a suit, and the person that was there on the seminar asked me what I did for my life, what I did. And I've done many things. I was in management. I worked as a power engineer, EMT, power engineering.
Can you talk a little bit about how you became a paramedic?
It first started out as a volunteer with St. John Ambulance. And we were taking courses and then you got more advanced and so on and so forth. And I guess I was working in a job in a chemical plant which went closed, and I went to the mine to be the safety coordinator. But because I had power engineering and they were short, they showed me in that department, which I had to drive about 45 miles every day. So a job opened in Miramichi. I had the qualifications for a paramedic, and I applied for it and took up the position.
Did you like being a paramedic?
A lot, yes, I did. I love helping people.
So when did you get your power engineering?
Back in 1972, 73.
And then
Took it to the hydro. Took the course to the hydro, and of course MBCC in them days they call it they have a name for it. Trade school, I guess.
and then what did you do with your power engineering?
What did I do? I guess I work in chemical plants, pulp mills, own my own business, WB boilers, where boilers on guarded plant. That means that you don't go to stay there. They're all tuned into a program. I would go into a call center and they would call you.
So currently, what do you do for work?
Right now, I work for a firm, a fabrication firm, where I run the heating for all of the plants. Not only run them, I do the ordering for whatever we need. I take care of the repairs, equipment. I also take care of the fire system, and also take care of the burglar alarm. And I do a few other things for them, whatever it comes up, I guess.
So you had mentioned at one point that when Sharon, your wife, was at home with the kids, you were working multiple jobs. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I was working in the chemical plant, and that shut down. And we had the opportunity to move to a position in Ontario, we have our son who is profoundly deaf, and we thought Miramichi would be a better place to raise him. I didn't take the job, so I picked up a couple of other jobs, didn't pay as well, so I worked 2 jobs at EMT, and as a young man, I became a meat cutter. So there were one of the chain stores were looking for a meat cutter, and so I thought, well, on my days off, or I could work in the grocery store as a meat cutter. So I went down to see the manager, and he said to me, "Get my resume," and he looks at me and he said, "Wayne, I'm sure you got a white shirt home. Here's a bow tie. Go home and get dressed and come on back and go to work." That was the interview. And I started out and I worked grocery, produce, meat, whatever he asked of me, and I was offered a job as a trainee to train for a manager of one of the Dominion stores.
So back in those days when you were working multiple jobs, what would you say, how many hours would you say you were working a week?
Oh, I would average 70 some hours a week, most weeks. I would work, if I was going into night shift as EMT, I would go into work in the store to unload trucks that was coming in with groceries or whatever at 5 in the morning, and I would work to 12, come home, have something to eat, go to bed, and sleep till 4, get up and shower, and go into work at 6, and I would work to 8 in the morning. That day I would go home and sleep, go into work at night, come home the next day, sleep to dinner time, and go into work from 1 o'clock in p.m. to 9 o'clock at night. And that went on day after day, week after week for quite a few years.
Did you find that hard?
No, I didn't. I didn't mind it. And at the same time, I was building my house. So I was certainly putting in the hours. And I built my house for $20,000, a 3-bedroom bungalow, and contractors were charging $45 at the time. I done pretty well most of the work myself.
What were some of your friends in your adult life that you still are friends with now, or kind of has like shaped you now?
Well, I think a lot of them were guys from my really close friends. I think were guys from St. John Ambulance, and turned out to be EMTs, and we got along. I had quite a few cousins, and my own family. That was really my friends, and some are first cousins, and some were second cousins, and of course I had a few other friends, of course, but they were my close friends for sure, family.
So your family now, how many grandkids do you have?
4.
And from what kids?
Michael, he got Michaela's, Yoa's, and then Jaden and Kiana, and Mackenzie got 1 child, Jackson. I'm so happy to have them. Love them. They're great.
Can you talk a little bit about what would you describe was the hardest time of your life?
I must say, I never found life hard. I just took it as it came. I wasn't one to complain. I didn't matter if I had to work 70 hours and sometimes more a week, or I had some really good job at paid good money. I worked on a lot of projects in pulp mills, and I was an operation manager of a small veneer mill. I'd done the everything from the hiring to the dispute had to be done. Took care of the steam part of it and changed in the operation that had to be done. Done startup of 3 or 4 operations. Get into some franchises where I was going to start up some different things. So I've done a little bit of everything.
Would you say that you have regrets about your life, any or no?
I think if I got any, it would be academics. That's the only one, I guess. But it came later. But I regret not doing it earlier, I guess.
Going back to your marriage, you are still with the woman you first married when you were how old?
How old we met? We
Yeah.
were 14 and 16.
But how old were you when you got married?
20 and just turned 20 and 18.
So how long have you been with your wife?
Going on 55 years.
So talking about marriage, what is the best part about being married?
Well, if you get married to the right person, it's great. It certainly is not everyone saying yes, and you do have your differences. You shouldn't go to bed mad, and you shouldn't go around with a long face on for days. Say what you're going to say. Be honest. Be upfront, and it seems to work. Well, it worked for us anyway.
Why do you think that you and your wife have been together for so long?
Well, I guess love is important. Respect for one another. We certainly had lots of ups and downs as far as sickness and other things. I think we want to be with one another, so we worked through the good times and bad times.
And finishing off the conversation about your marriage, what are some things that you love most about your wife?
I always loved coming home from work. If it was a 12-hour day or whatever I did at EMT, coming back from St. John, Moncton, Halifax, and couldn't wait to get home 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever, and we would talk and have a lunch. I enjoy doing things together so far.
So something with aging that you've and a lot of people have had to deal with is dealing with death of loved ones. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Well, I guess I've been pretty lucky in our family, really. We had no one in my family, mom and dad, but dad was 74, 75. Mom was 85 when she passed. Dad was sick for a while. He took a stroke, so he was in the hospital for a year or more. He did not rehabilitation. Mom just took sick, pneumonia, and passed away in about 4 months. She lived a good life. She had a good life, and as an EMT, Sharon had a brother at 33 that was killed in a car accident. I was working that night, so that was sad, and it was a pretty serious crisis when I had to tell the family.
What's some advice you would give people about dealing with grief when a loved one passes away?
Well, you got to face it. You can't run away from it. In my opinion, you got to face it. as an EMT, you're told you start dying the day you're born, and we all gotta die. And you have your own time. You have your own time, sad time, sadness, of course. If you believe that eternal life, that you're going to see one another again someday. And sometimes that's hard, you know, is that like pie in the sky, you know, more or less. But anyway, you got to, you know, and pray and talk and I guess you thank God too. I was 46 when my father died, and I was 51 when my mother died, or over, maybe 53. So I guess I was so happy to have them grown up. And that's one thing I would think about as a early teens, was I used to pray every night for my dad to live till I was 16, and he lived until I was 46, so certainly my prayers rang answered.
Going into aging, last year you somewhat retired, but now you're kind of back at work. Do you want to talk about retirement and if that was hard for you?
No, I wouldn't say it was hard. I just have an opportunity to work. I have a good job. I have working for a good firm. And I like working with people. I like doing new things. I like a challenge. Something come up that they want me to do. It really a little difficult. Whatever that would be. If it was looking to try to get a loading space for CN to stop the cars here so we could load and unload. I enjoy talking to people and trying to get an action and get the plan done, whatever it may be.
So at 75, you could definitely be retired. How come you've made the choice to keep working?
Really, I didn't think about it really. I really didn't think at 75 I'm gonna go home. I didn't think about it. Came 75, it was just still work. And I work. I like working, and if I'm not working there, I'm working at home doing something. So I never really thought about 65, or I don't even think about 75. I don't know what my future is, but I don't think about them things. I just get up and go. I've been lucky with myself. I don't know what I'm saying my future is going to be, but I got a lot of energy still. I can do a little bit of carpenter work, a little bit of plumbing, a little bit of wiring. I do many things, and I don't mind doing it.
So what would you say is the hardest part about aging?
I don't know. I don't really think about it very much.
Do you feel any effects on your body aging?
Well, I think you do things a little bit more careful. You pay a little more attention. That's one thing. If you're up on a ladder, I wouldn't think about anything about it. I wouldn't think about it. But now I make sure my foot is on the ladder properly, on the steps. My driving, I'm more careful. I mean, I've done a lot of driving EMT at high speeds and so on. I could handle a car or a truck or anything. I drove trucks too. I can handle things pretty well. I find I'm a little more careful now, a little more conscious. I don't find maybe I'm as quick as I was. That's about the only thing. As far as being tired or don't want to do anything, I don't feel any effect by it.
What's the best part about aging, do you think?
Is it a good part? I don't know. I think like my grandkids, I seem to have more time for them, I guess. So maybe my job doesn't detail as much as the other jobs when my family were growing. So I think maybe I got more time to listen to them and give them my voice. Sometimes I don't like it too much, but I still give it. And so, I don't find a whole lot of difference.
Do you have any fears about aging?
Not really, not yet anyway. No, not really. I don't think about it. I don't even think I'm 75 years old. I don't think about it. Maybe if you get thinking, I suppose. I don't think you should think about it. Just you can't do anything about it. Just move on. Like my mother always said, I'm lucky to be here. So that's how I feel about it. I don't even think about it.
What role has religion and God played in your life?
Well, I certainly believe in God. I certainly believe there's a God out there. You look at the trees, you look at how things change, and I would say he, made me a better person. Like, done a lot of volunteering in my life and stuff like that, a lot. So I think give me empathy for people, give me hope, help me to push through some hard things, help me to be the person I am. I think church is to keep you in line in life, keep you on the right side, they say, the track, more or less. I think faith is a great thing, and I think I do have faith. I really do.
Talking about your life in total so far, what would you say are some of the best parts?
Well, I guess, it's I'm not a greedy person. I guess when you get a promotion, you get a new job, your kids are doing fine, then you have grandkids, and you look at how they're doing and turning out. And, I guess you add something to your house, you do something new to it, maybe a new car. What was that question again?
Some of the best parts of your life.
One better part of my life was always coming home from work. I always enjoy it, coming home. And having family at different occasions, and having little parties. Helping people, out people. I helped quite a few people in my life, so that's a big part of my life.
You've been a part of a lot of committees, and then recently you were the president of the Chambers of Commerce Committee in Miramichi. Do you want to talk a little bit about your volunteering and how come even aging, you've stayed on so many committees and are so involved in your community?
Well, I don't think about 75. I guess I don't even think about that. Yes, I was on several. I've been a volunteer ever since I was like going back as a volunteer. My sister and I, when we were 7, 8 years old, at the picnics, we would go with a teacher and in her car and pick up pies or whatever for the supper. I think I've been volunteering ever since I was 7 years old, and on so many boards, and King Brother of the Order of St. John. I was on the NBCC board, governors. I was on the co-op board, president. I guess, at the chamber, enterprise membership, CBDC, 20 years as a volunteer, managed all house league teams. I don't know. I just like volunteer. I like helping people.
Do you feel like it's an important part of your life?
Oh yes, I say volunteering when you're looking to hire someone. I think your volunteering is more important than looking at your past record of work, because volunteering, you don't have to. And when you do a commitment and you do well, and if you move up from on the board to maybe vice president or president or whatever, or chairman, it tells that you're a good worker, and you're there. You're not there for the money. Most boards, I've been on boards so I get paid, but 8% of my boards were volunteering.
If you could go back and tell your younger self, give your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be?
Academics, education. It's hard to tell it to a young person, but that's mostly it's the most important part of your life. It gives you all the tools that you need for a successful life. It gives you, and not only that, it gives you academics and education is not all about yourself. It's about helping other people. You can't be greedy, and you've got to look, I got the academics, or I can help that other person that don't have the opportunity or don't have the chance. I can help that person. Education is so important, not only for yourself but for the community, for your family, and it shows the other ones that come behind you that it takes you from maybe 0 to 10.
So, do you think you'd tell your younger self to get more education?
Oh yes, definitely. I mean, it's a limit to say, okay, yes, that's it. I don't think you ever stop learning. I have never stopped learning. I learned some things today. So you never get tired of learning and going to school. I don't think you should get tired of doing that.
So, over your 75 years of being here, if you had to give your grandkids and kids one lesson, really important lesson that you've learned about life, what would it be?
I would say be honest, don't lie, don't steal, work hard, and get a good academic education, and be there to help people that don't have the opportunities that you had, and don't try to look down your nose at anyone.
This is going to be the last question of the Life Story interview. What is your hope for your future? Or what are some things that you'd like to do, or just what do you look forward to in your future?
I don't know, just like I've been doing some upgrading the house. The house is in good shape. I'm always doing things around the house. I just, same things that I've done for years. If I can help anyone, I will. I like to see the grandkids doing well. I like to see everyone doing well. People in the community. I like to see our community move forward. I got a few things I like to help out in. And I like to see more jobs here in Miramichi and in New Brunswick and in Canada as a whole. I'm a great Canadian. I'm certainly all Canadian, that's for sure. I just think that just a few of them things I mentioned.
And is there any last words that you'd like to leave this interview with?
Well, I'd just like to say thanks for having the opportunity to ask me, Michaela. Your grandfather, the question, took the chance with me to ask me these questions that you had no idea how I would handle it, I'm sure. I think you really knew, but you never know. And I just want to say thank you. And you're a great lady, and I certainly love you, for sure.
Love you too. And that's the interview with Wayne Bushey.